بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you? ازيكم? Welcome back. First of all, I chose to be here on Zoom rather than on the other application, since that Teams application is rather slow and drops all the time, loses connection. So I'm hoping that this time we'll make it. So if you are here and you can follow me and see everything, please let me know. You're here? Here يعني هنا مش بتسمع. So you are already here in the session, right? I have about 15 now. Okay. خلاص نبدأ. بسم الله. If you have a problem, tell me. نبدأ يا شباب. Hello.
يا دكتور.
أيوه.
أيوة مع حضرتك.
All fine. نبدأ خلاص.
مع حضرتك يا دكتور.
Great. Thank you very much. بسم الله. Now, here is the beginning, and this is the title of my session as announced beforehand on Zoom. It's a session on Nettles from three perspectives: Geocriticism, Feminism, and Modernism. As we agreed before, any noun that ends in ISM means lots of things. It means an ideology, a school of thought, a movement, whatever. But this mix is really intended and deliberate, and I mean it. I want to draw your attention to the fact that you can approach Nettles in the same way that we approached the map of love, in the same way we approached comfort, from many points of view, not only geocriticism, not only feminism, not only modernism, not only history, not only heteroglossia, but it's a motley of all this. It's a mixture of different approaches that you can make use of in your study as a pre-master student or a student of the MA and the PhD. Your mindset has to be different. It has to be mature. It has to be comprehensive and welcoming like that. And this is what I call actually interdisciplinarity. We call it one major tenet of modernism and actually of studies in the second half, in the last part of the first half of the 20th century, in the second half of the 20th century, and in the first decades of the 21st century, there has been a tendency towards what we call interdisciplinarity. What is interdisciplinarity? It's the fact that in your studies, in your study of literature, you are not anymore linear, you are not anymore limited to the conventional methods of explaining or interpreting a work of art, but rather you are offered lots and lots of okay, thank you. Lots and lots of insights into the work of art that you discern or benefit by from your study of drama, poetry, the short story, the novel, music, philosophy, logic, geography, sociology, and medicine. All these branches of knowledge, I'm only offering you examples actually, but these and many other disciplines and branches of knowledge can help you a great deal in your interdisciplinary approach to literature so that you can understand the text in a better way. So you make use of all these things. Like when you study a short story, a given short story, and to understand it more and more, you have to refer back to another short story or another poem or another play or another novel, or even perhaps novels or plays or poems or short stories or texts in philosophy, texts in linguistics, rather in logic, in geography, in sociology, in medicine. All these things. الحكمة ضالة المؤمن، يعني فمتى وجدها فهو أحق الناس به. يعني it's truth زي ما احنا خدنا في الترم الأولاني مع the map of love. Suppose truth is somewhere, so we all should seek truth. As truth seekers, we could tread many paths. We could take a journey into medicine زي ما خدنا مع أليس مونرو comfort. We could also talk about philosophy اللي هي في الأساس مع geography الأساس بتاع what we call geocriticism وهكذا. This is a very quick introduction into today's lecture, which depends mainly on interdisciplinarity. So you explicate the text, you give the text a new reading, a new flavor by making use of such disciplines, and this is quite necessary for you as a researcher. And hence, actually, in our study and in the exam, I expect you to prepare yourself answering such a question. Discuss, for example, interdisciplinarity. In Alice Munro, I could leave it open like that, so you could choose comfort or Nettles. You could also choose any part of أهداف wave, first part, second part, third part, any passages. واحنا اتفقنا كمان يبقى فيه quotations ما تنسوش. أبو العلا وهناخدها بعد ما نخلص Nettles إن شاء الله. So let's give you an example. Let's have an example about what I mean by interdisciplinarity. I'm explaining Nettles, but rather than focus on Nettles directly in the traditional conventional way, I arrive at Nettles through other resources or text. This time it's a short story and a play. Just read this. Never mind the title, never mind the author. The title is The Story of an Hour. The author is Kate Chopin. If you have not read the story, you will be amazed at how relevant these quotes and these lines are to Nettles by Alice Munro. Her fancy, this is a woman who has been told that her husband has died, which is not true. He has just been mistaken as dead, ولكن he did not die ولا حاجة. Her fancy was running. Once she knew that he died, that he is not going to be in her life anymore, so her fancy بقى مش مجرد imagination. She's inventing and inventing and looking forward to the days ahead, running right along those days ahead of her when she is going to live alone. Spring days. أنا عايزك تركز معايا على الحاجات اللي أنا مظللها دي، جميلة جدا ونستمتع بيها قبل ما نفكر في الامتحان والحاجات دي كلها. So in future, you know, when she is going to live alone for herself, without the presence of her husband, with his demands and his pressure and his silliness and his attempts to drain her psychology and her body and her entire being. خلاص الغمة دي هتنزاح ويروح في 60 في 70 وتفضل هي بقى living for herself. Look at this: spring days and summer days and all sorts of days that would be her own, you know. She will be devoted and she will devote her entire life to the pleasures of the body and the soul all alone. وحتى there is no mention of the children بالمناسبة. She breathed the quick prayer that life might be long. لو بنترجمها دي هنقول ايه؟ ثم توسلت او تبتلت او ابتهلت الى السماء ان تطول حياتها، تبقى يعني longer than this. وهي نفس الشخص اللي ايه، بص كده من شويه it was only yesterday. yesterday مش معناها امبارح، yesterday معناها in the near past. She had thought with a shudder that life might be long. يعني when he was present, when he was living with her, life was so long and boring and tedious and exhausting and pressurizing, and she could not enjoy it at all, but she had a general impression that she was happy. Now, with her freedom and independence and with the prospect of living alone for herself, she wants life to be longer and longer. What is at issue here? What is the writer trying to drive at? The writer is trying to espouse the cause of women and feminism and the fact that Mrs. Mallard who has a heart trouble. Her plight and her dilemma is much more important to readers and to the author than the husband who has just died. It's a paradox. It's an irony, of course, right? And let's go on. When she abandoned herself, a little whispered word escaped her slightly parted lips. She said it over and over under her breath. She said خلاص وصلت للكونكلوجن اللي هي بتقول ايه free free free. يبقى this is the message, this is the final message, this is the substance of the whole short story in women, especially at the turn of the century, and women under feminism seek that kind of freedom. Not one, لا بالثلاثة, not just free ولا freedom, لا free free free, right? And that was a terrible conclusion, and that is why her pulses beat fast and so on, but it's something that she is quite convinced of. There would be no one to live for during those coming years. خلي بالك انا مش بقول الكلام ده، الاكزامبلز دي مش للتسليه ولا للمتعه بس. For comparison, for application, so you can read the story of Anawa on your own and try to find connections between the story of Anawa and Nettles by Munro and the text that we are going to refer to in a short while. So there will be no one to live for during those coming years. She would live for herself. There would be no powerful will bending hers in that blind persistence with which men and women believe they have a right to impose a private will upon a fellow creature. يعني no one is going to force anything upon her, and she's gonna live all alone for herself. فكايد intention ما يفرقش بقى معاها اذا كان كايد intention cruel intention، ولكن هي وصلت للنقطه دي اللي احنا بنسميها نقطه elimination or epiphany. Keep that in mind, okay? And this is from the story of an hour by Kate Chapin. تمام. Now let's jump into another text that pretty roughly does the same, but that text predates the story of an hour. Actually, it was written some 20, 30 years before that. But what is strange and what is paradoxical and what is intriguing and challenging actually is that the three texts خلاص تورفلد انا هاجل العنوان شويه ما اشوف هتفتكروه ولا لا او هتعرفوه ولا لا. This one that was written some 25 or 30 years before the story of an hour, plus the story of an hour, plus the awakening by the same author, plus Nettles, and of course Comfort, and of course every short story written by Alice Munro زي Headship, Loveship, Courtship, Marriage, right? كلهم في علاقات متينه وطيده ما بينهم من حيث الفورم ومن حيث الكونتنت. بس انا بتكلم عن ايه؟ عن freedom. Okay, the fact that women first of all spend a great amount of their lifetime thinking that they are happy, devoting themselves to the service and the worship even of their household, like children, like husband, living under the impression or the false impression that they are happy while in fact they are not. And then there comes a moment of epiphany or elimination when they discover that they were not happy ولا حاجة, and that from now on they have to live all alone for themselves independently and freely away from the pressures of society and family and husband and children. So here is another example. Nora, لما نقرا نورا وتورفالد يجي في ذهننا اني بقى نص ايه بقى النص اللي قدامنا دلوقتي اللي احنا بنرجع له. نقرا كده الاول. نورا declared her ها اتفضلي. What text is it? A Doll's House. Bravo. Nora declares her ultimate freedom from Torvald by abandoning him, and what? And her children in order to pursue her own desire for an education. What does she want? She does not just leave him كده out of the blue in order to live a life of enjoyment and pleasure, and laxity. Right? No, she discovers that she has not been educated enough, she does not understand the world enough, فبالتالي she wants to educate herself. And that is why she tells him, don't feel yourself bound any more than I will. مفيش بقى التزامات خالص من ناحيتك تجاهي ولا من ناحيتي تجاهك. No bond زي ما قالت هي صاحبتنا في الستوري الاولانيه. Nothing to bind us together. There has to be absolute freedom for both of us. زي ما يكون دي المسج بتاعت المسرحيه كلها. So you may imagine how pleased we are. في الأول خالص كانت فاكرة كده إن she is very pleased. Okay, for the future we can live quite differently. We can do just as we like. I feel so relieved and so happy. ده كان الانطباع بتاعها الأول. الناس اللي بتتكلم بعد إذنكم بلاش كلام. ممكن أعمل لكم بقى ميوت إزاي؟ مش خلينا كبار كده ون mute my audio. No. mute بلاش كلام بعد اذنكم بس عشان we do not have the luxury of wasting time. So she in brief she feels very happy but she is not. احنا قلنا she lives under the impression that she is happy. بس بص بقى الكلام ده هتلاقيه تقريبا identical. تخيلوا identical to what we read in the story of an hour. فاكرين free from care, to be able to be free from care, quite free from care. هي اتقالت هناك 3 مرات مش كده؟ فاكرين؟
Yes.
ارجع لها تاني ولا فاكرينها؟ So what does she say here? free, right? هنا 3 كلمات هناك 3 عبارات. ايه ال3 عبارات بقى اللي هنا؟ free from care, to be able to be free from care, quite free from care. زي ما يكون بقى this short story اللي هو the story of an hour is an echo or a reply to the first text. To be able to play and romp with the children, to be able to keep. ده في الأول برضه هي عندها إحساس إن هي free from the pressures of life except the service of her husband and children. But there is development here. I must try and educate myself. You are not the man to help me in that. زمان كان هو the center of her life. فبالتالي she could not take any decision at all. She had to live under his umbrella. Now she discovers كده very confidently that he is not the sort of person to help her educate herself. I must do that for myself. And that is why I'm going to leave you now. فطبعا هو نفسه هيلمر her husband الآية اتقلبت أو الوضع اختلف تماما. Springing, jumping up. What do you say? What are you saying? Are you nuts, for example, to say that? I must stand quite alone. If I am to understand myself and everything about me, it is for that reason that I cannot remain with you any longer. وفي الآخر إيه؟ يلا مع السلامة بتسيبه وبتمشي. I'm going away from here now at once. Right? This is the end of the slides actually, but let's go to the novel, sorry, the short story itself, which we began last time. Are you following? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, doctor.
So what is it? Can you sum up to me what I have been trying to say?
About what?
يعني كل اللي انا قلته دلوقتي about وبتسالي about what؟ يعني انا جبت النصوص الثلاثه ديت ليه؟
Yes. You want us to make a comparison between feminism and comfort, Nettles and Idol's house.
And Adult's house. تمام برافو حلو قوي تمام. And can you see اتفضلي. Yes.
We can further say that it's a comparison between the epiphanic moments in the 3 stories.
Thank you very much. This is another issue. It's not just freedom. It's education. It's epiphany. It's change. Okay, it's how the mindset of women in the modern age is introduced and presented by someone as feminist as these writers, especially Alice Munro. With Alice Munro, the issue is different. In what way is it different? يعني خلينا أسألكم هنا سؤال. Okay, السؤال كده. Is شايفين انا بكتبه؟
Yes.
ده السؤال. Or is the kind of feminism presented by Alice Munro the same as the sort of feminism that you encounter in reading upon reading A Doll's House and The Story of an Hour؟ هل هي بتكرر نفس الكلام؟ Is she a continuation؟ Is she بنسميها كده replica a replica of the other writers؟ What is replica؟ بص كده معايا. What is replica؟ replica a copy. بص بقى قولوا ما شاء الله على الدكتور بتاعكم. A copy. قولوا ما شاء الله اسمعها.
ما شاء الله.
A
ما شاء
copy,
الله.
an
ما شاء الله.
imitation, a model.
ما شاء الله.
هنقضيها ما شاء الله بقى خلاص. خلاص يا كابتن.
حضرتك اللي طلبت.
شكرا يا محمد.
An identical picture, identical image of something else.
بالظبط a duplication, a reproduction.
Duplication repetitive.
بص كده CC or a carbon copy زي في الايميلز لما بنقول كاربون كوبي بتتكتب بالشكل ده. تمام؟ Is she the same؟ يعني اشغلوا نفسكم بالسؤال ده لان انا ممكن اجيب لك برضو كلمه ريبليكا نفسها في الامتحان اقول لك is Marlo
I think no.
replica
Alice Munro does that smoothly and subtly.
برافو عليك. تمام. انا عايز بقى ده يتطور في argument في اجابه. اكتبوا ده واشتغلوا على النقطه ديت because she from my point of view actually and actually from the points of view of many other scholars and critics she is unique not only in terms of language in terms of content and form. خلينا نوسع السؤال شويه. تمام؟ ونقضيها النهارده بعض الاجابات واسيب لكم انتوا الشرح.
هو يا دكتور بس يعني انا مش شايف ان هي سموث خالص يعني بصراحه.
براحتك قول اللي انت عايزه يا محمد وتفضل وجاوب بس ايه مش في المحاضره دلوقتي عشان انا محكومين بوقت. اكتب اللي انت عايزه. لو تلخص في نص دقيقه يبقى كتر خيرك. She's not smooth.
ايوه لما توصف مثلا when she describes that a wife found her husband dead and she moves nothing and she feels nothing for him except for searching for something from him to remind her of the past.
Again, excuse me. Again, you are judging the novel and the situations, the short story, and the context in the short story from your own moral point of view.
انا قرات بعد حضرتك قرات الفيمينيزم كتير قوي وكنت محضره بس انا شايف ان ده اعلى من الفيمينيزم شويه. الفيمينيزم is that you defending to get or to gain the rights of the women. Okay, but here انك انت هنا لا هنا مش في رايتس خالص للومن. ده هنا paved her away from her nature. ان دي مش المرأة.
I respect your judgment so much and I expect you to develop it, elaborate it in an essay or something that you present to me. ان شاء الله. سامحوني ان انا لسه ما قريتش كل الحاجات اللي عندي. In due time I will باذن الله. بس ده سؤال تاني اهو. How is Munro unique in terms of content and form? How is she different? How is she exceptional in terms of form and content? I want you to engage grapple with these issues, please. So after the quick introduction at the beginning of the story, احنا لسه في الصفحات الأولى. She does not give an answer. مين الشخص اللي واقف على الكاونتر ده ولا حاجة خالص. So she takes us on a journey to the countryside. Not another place actually, but another stage in her life. Now she is in her late 50s. أو نقدر نقول in her mid 50s. And this is the time when she is a child. We're taken to the countryside, not to the city, but to the countryside. And not to a time when she's old, but a time when she is a child. And then she begins to talk about the landscape of Canada. And you know, كل مرة بقول لكم كده Canada is so spacious. كلمة spacious بتيجي من كلمة space. هكتبها لكم هنا حتى كمان في الفايل. كمان تمام sorry. So it's called spacious. What is spacious بقى؟ من space. يعني very large in space. Lots and lots of spaces. So wells would go dry in the summers. الأول بتروح عاملة لها فردة المظلة كده عشان to paint a backdrop or a background in which space plays the most important role in the development of characters, especially Nina, the child now. So one day يعني بص الكلام ده كله شرح للسبيس يعني مش عارف ايه سبيس. So يبقى ده اختصار للي فات ده كله. الخلاصة يا جماعة ايه ما طولش عليكم. One day the well driller arrived with impressive equipment. يبقى قبل زي ما احنا اتفقنا كده قبل اي important stage of development in the life of Nina, especially طبعا the heroine, there is that kind of exploration of space, as if you cannot understand anything in the short story without reference to space, right? And the whole was extended down deep into the earth. Very fond. She's very fond of space, as you can see, until it found the water in the rock. And once the well driller اللي هو مايك ووالده اللي اسمه برضه مايك, once he helps them to find water in that spacious arena, ايه اللي بيحصل بقى؟ From that time on we could pump out pure cold water no matter what the time of the year and no matter how dry the weather. That was something to be proud of. الأول نظبط اللي هو spatial paradigms, نظبط السبيشال values in the short story زي كده ايه معادله. المعادله دي مش هتتظبط الا لما تاخد بالك من الكومن دينومينيتور وتاخد بالك من الاقواس وتاخد بالك من الاس اللي موجود فيه. ما اعرفش انا ماليش في الرياض قوي بس في حاجات معينه اسس بيسيس معينه في المعادلات لازم تظبطها الاول عشان المعادله تمشي معاك. ايه المعادله اللي هنا اللي في الشورت ستوري؟ هو سبيس زي ما احنا شايفين. تمام. هناخد بقى ايه ازاي بتضفر السبيس مع مع الفيمينيزم مع المودرنزم. المودرنزم من شويه هي عملت جامب في التايم والسبيس وشيفت زي ما احنا ملاحظين ومش هنرجع لها كتير. He lived in the town close by our farm but he did not have a house there. المهم كل دي تايم. Mike McCallum was a younger man than my father but he had a son. يعني مش شغلتنا دي مش قصتنا ان علاقته بالاب ولكن المهم ان كان عنده ايه a son and that son was 9 and I was 8. I want you to look at the beauty, the accuracy, the exquisite pleasure with which we read things like this as she chooses, Alice Munro, to describe the feelings of the 8-year-old child. ودي حاجه من الحاجات الرائعه في القصه الحقيقه وانا بكتشفها معاكم دلوقتي بالاضافه للمودرنزم وجيوكريتيسيزم وفيمينيزم والمسائل دي كلها. مين اللي قال the child is father to the man؟ حد فاكر بقى منكم كده شاطر يقول لي the child is father to the man؟ وكلكم درستوا رومانتيك poetry. The child is father to the man is a line of poetry, a memorable line from one of William Wordsworth's poems. William Wordsworth قال الكلام ده way before Sigmund Freud came later on in the second half of the 19th century. عارفين ان المدرسه الرومانتيك موفمنت حصلت امتى؟ في بدايه القرن ال19 مع ديالكتيكال بالانس اللي كتبها وورdsworth مع كولريدج واللي قالوا فيها the poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. And then he stressed the importance of childhood innocence وكتب بعد كده ويليام بليك songs of innocence and experience. المهم the child is father of the man refers to the fact that children were looked at all the time as the essence of age and maturity and of man's entire life. So here هي سابت الجزء الاولاني بتاع ان هي راحت لصاحبتها اللي اسمها صاني ولقت واحد in the kitchen ومش عارف ايه وقامت مقصله لنا الفكره كلها وجايبه لنا الاساس بتاعها. ايه الاساس؟ انه الاساس في الدنيا كلها اللي حصل لها في حياتها كلها هو اللي حصل في الثلاث اربع اسابيع او الشهرين نقدر نقول اللي مايك وباباه جم وحفروا البير. She was 8 and he was 9. So whatever you do to the child positively or negatively stays on him and with him for his entire or her entire life. And this is pretty much what Sigmund Freud has said. You know, his birthday was in April, mine in June. يعني هو الكلام ده لما اتقابلوا بعد كده في نهاية القصة they meet together and when they meet together Mike, the elder Mike, does not remember anything of these details. Who does remember? It is Nina, because as a child, she has been drawn and depicted by the writer in those very tiny but accurate details, right? And if you move on, I had more acquaintance with blood and animal killing than Mike did. As a child, she seems to be perhaps خلي بالك برضه من ذكاء الكاتبه جدا. She is a child, she's 8 but she's a girl. بص برضه الكلام ده، ما انا بقول لك انا بعلمك دلوقتي حاجه اسمها ده critical eye، واخد بالك؟ تلمح كده الكلمه والفيتشر والجمله والفريز واللفته والشيفت والحاجات دي كلها. احنا هنقفل كمان 10 دقائق. هكذا يقول صاحبنا زوم. حلو قوي، كتر خيره. ف all this actually is given to us. في حاجه اسمها undercurrent، في حاجه اسمها signs، في signs that make us wonder later on how the writer has been able to manage all this. She's a child, but she's a girl. He's older than her, but she understands more. She has more perception. She has more intelligence. She has more emotion. She has more understanding. And she has more experience with the world, even with the world of animal killing. اللي هو كان in Canada برضو. Yeah, you know, her father used to kill old horses in order to make of them food for other animals. I took him to see the spot on the corner of the pasture near the barnyard gate where my father shot and butchered the horses وهكذا. The ground was trodden. هي she does not have any problem at all with the sight of blood. That is to say, she's experienced. She understands the world much more than he. Then I took him to the meet. هي عمالة بقى ايه acquainting him with the place, introducing him to the place, to space in general, to some pivotal moments of her life and the life of her family. كل الكلام ده بيتبني جواها وجوه وجدانها ووجداننا احنا كقراء عشان نعرف later on how much she was attached to him, how much the loss of him drove her crazy and changed her life completely. Then I took him to the meat house in the barnyard where the horse carcasses وهكذا. The meat house was just a shed. كل ده وصف الايه؟ house shed with wire walls وهكذا. Our farm was small. خلي بالك من الواير وولز دي هتيجي بعدين. مفيش جمله، مفيش تقريبا ملمح او معلومه بتتقال هنا في البدايه الا وبيتم ذكرها فيما بعد. cyclical structure as you can see. كل معلومه من الحاجات دي زي ما قلنا طفيره، شعرايه مع شعرايه وكذا. Our farm was small و 9 acres. طب ليه ما قالتش our farm was 9 acres? It was a small one. Again, it's a play on language. And the words, the language, the structure is different as befits a modernistic writer or perhaps a postmodernistic writer. It was small enough for me to have explored every part of it. Once again, exploration of space. And every part had هنا بقى عايزك تركز معايا جدا في الحته الرائعه دي. Every part had a particular look and character which I could not have put into words. ولا احنا كمان نقدر to put into words. Every part of the farm had a particular look, a particular character. نرجع في الباوربوينت لاقتباس رائع من حد فيكم شاطر يقول لي ايه الاقتباس من اسمه دوت ليفوفر بيقول بقى على سبيس ايه انه ايه؟ ها شاطر يقول كلمه واحده. ها سمعتها؟ مين اللي قال؟ هلو
أنا
اسمك ايه؟
it speaks.
اسمك
أميرة.
شكرا يا أميرة.
أميرة.
برافو عليك يا أميرة. It speaks exactly. هو ده الاقتباس. It speaks. It has an effective kernel or center like such and such. I'm very happy that Amira has been able to recall that important quotation. It shows يعني الحمد لله يعني تعبي ما راحش على الأرض، كتر خيركم. So it had a particular look and particular character. I could not put it into words. مش بس كده، بص اللي جاي ده. There were other things such as the stones on either side of the barn gangway that had just as much to say to me. بص بقى to say to me, to speak to me, though nothing memorable had ever occurred there. ما فيش حاجة حصلت substantially، ما فيش حاجة concrete حصلت، ولكن من كتر يعني الاكسبلوريشن والmutual understanding، الميوتشوال sympathy، الناس اللي عندها sympathy كده للآخرين وللموجودات وللكائنات والأماكن كلها زي ما أنتم عارفين طبعا. Right? Though nothing memorable had ever occurred there, ولكن it had much to say to me. On one side there was a big smooth with whitish يعني مش white قوي لا هو whitish مد على white stone that bulged. Focus with me on that stone that was bulging, that was white, and dominated all others. And so that side had to me an expansive and public air. And I would always choose to climb that way rather than on the other side where the stones were darker and clung together in a more mean-spirited way. يبقى there was a part or a side of the stone that was smooth, that was white, that was bulging, that was dominating. يعني ابرز حاجه في المكان كله هو ذلك الحجر الابيض الجميل اللي كان دايما captivating her imagination. It has an expansive and public air. اما الاحجار الاخرى او الجهات الاخرى حتى من الحجر نفسه فكانت ايه؟ dark, clinging together. وبص بقى in a mean spirited way، زي ما يكون اصلا الستون نفسه طلع له ايه؟ spirit، ولا السبيريت بتاعته mean يعني dirty or ugly. Giving inanimate objects the qualities of animate objects اسمها ايه؟ ها؟ اسمها contrast، juxtaposition، metonymy، اسمها metaphor، اسمها simile، اسمها personification. اسمها ايه؟ اسمها personification. اسمها كمان synecdoche if you are familiar with poetry. Okay, each of the trees on the place had likewise an attitude and a presence. The elm يعني ناخد أمثلة. The elm مثلا looked serene, and the oak threatening, the maples friendly and workaday, the hawthorn old and crabby. Even the pits on the river flats where my father had sold off gravel years ago had their distinct character, perhaps easiest to spot if you saw them full of water at the receding of the spring floods. يبقى everything breathed, everything spoke, every sign, every symbol of space had its own presence and its own sympathy, its own نقدر نقول ايه vibes. عارفين كلمة الفايبس؟ يعني ايه vibes؟ What is vibes؟ مش الفايبس اللي بتتشرب مش سجاير. الفايبس يعني ايه؟ في ناس كده وفي حاجات كده في الدنيا ليها vibes. يلا قولوا لي بسرعه قبل ما يختم. Everything had its own vibe.
يعني نائب الفايب يعني نائب الرئيس مثلا او
لا صلي على النبي. الثاني
Doctor,
فايب تقصدي
something
فايب
like daily routines or some
feelings.
sort of things.
اقرا معايا feelings, atmospheres, ambience, vibrations. هي جايه من كلمه vibrations، sensations, ambience, feels،
مشاعر.
لا انت عارف ايه الشعاع؟ يعني بيطلع منه شعاع كده. Do you understand؟ بيشع مشاعر، بيشع
ايوه مشاعر
معاني معينه. Do you understand؟ So everything regarding space has that kind of vibe, right? There was the one that was small around وهكذا. انا خايف بس لا يقفل بدون ما يسجل او ما يخزن يعمل سيف يعني. فانا بستاذنكم نقفل دلوقتي وان شاء الله نتقابل قريبا وهقول لكم ازاي باذن الله. So بسرعه فين يا عمي؟ pause share. Thank you.
شكرا.
اشوفكم على خير. السلام عليكم.
دكتور
انا لسه معاكم، اتفضلي.
لو سمحت يا دكتور، انا كنت بس عايزه اقول لحضرتك هل ممكن نبدا المحاضره بدري عن كده ساعه او لو متاح يعني؟
طب ما قلتيش ليه؟
عارفة، ما كنتش عارفة يعني